Good morning and welcome to the JMCSS podcast for the district. I'm Greg Hammond, Chief of Public Information for the Jackson-Madison County School System. Can you believe it? We're just a few days away from the second month of the second semester. The school year is speeding along, but we're going to slow down to share some very exciting and important information. Today we'll visit with Molly Plyler. She's with our district Department of Innovation. She's Director of STEM and Computer Science. She'll share details of the statewide Vex Robotics competition that JMCSS has the honor of hosting. For the district, the JMCSS podcast is a production of the Jackson-Madison County School System in partnership with Forever Communications. You can listen to this episode on demand on Apple iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Molly, welcome to For the District.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
You like how I cleaned that up there? It was kind of rough taking off, but we're okay now.
It's okay.
Molly, we're going to ask you the same question we ask most of our guests. Did you always know you wanted to work in education?
No. In fact, when I was growing up, I would always help tutor friends, and I remember being asked by people, hey, are you going to be a teacher when you grow up? And my answer was literally, no way, I will never work in education. So I went to college. My degrees are in business and biology, and then my husband and I had the opportunity to go move to Wuhan, China, and teach at a banking and finance university there, and I fell in love with education. I fell in love with those light bulb moments with students, the impact that you can have through the relationships of teaching. So when we moved back to America, I enrolled in a master's degree program for instruction and curriculum, and voila, I ended up in the classroom.
It's not every Sunday that we get a guest who spent some time in China. So you want to share some phrases with us?
So our Chinese was survival Chinese, right? So we could go to the market, we could order food, but hello is ni hao, goodbye, sai jian.
That's more than we knew before the show started.
People would ask if I knew Chinese, and I'd say, Dian, just a little.
Molly Plyler is the director for our STEM education and computer science. This is all under the umbrella of our Department of Innovation. Molly, talk about your role as Director of STEM and Computer Science. What does that role entail?
Well, I am so privileged to work with all of our schools in varying capacities. Sometimes that looks like helping schools start robotics programs. Right now, with the new computer science legislation that has come down from the Department of Education, part of my role is helping teachers get this computer science endorsement. So Jackson-Madison is doing a fantastic job of getting teachers through that training, putting computer science in our classrooms from our youngest pre-K learners, just some of the cutest little kids that are working with robots and learning basic computer science skills, so they have that foundation in computational thinking, which will assist them in all of their other core academic areas.
In case you didn't catch our interview with Dr. Teresa McSweeney, she's our Chief of Innovation.
Correct.
In case you didn't catch that podcast, you may be wondering, well, what is innovation? Molly, now, correct me if I'm off here, but essentially the Department of Innovation enhances classes that most people know as career and technical education classes or VOTEC classes. Is that correct?
Yeah, and another part of our department that I think is so special is we want students and teachers to dream big. No idea is a crazy idea. We actually ask our educators to look for inspiration beyond K-12 education, because sometimes the best ideas are when you pull things from industry, you pull things from post-secondary, you combine them together, you give them the little Jackson-Madison, spin, right? And we're creating these beautiful programs that are engaging to students, that are reinforcing core academic skills, and just bringing a new excitement into the district. And it's a privilege to work in that.
We're visiting with Molly Plyler. She's with our district's Department of Innovation. She's director of STEM and computer science. And a little later, she's going to tell us about this big statewide event that we're hosting right here in Jackson. And it involves robotics, Vex Robotics. Before we get into that, I know our innovation institutes. So when people want to know about the improvements our district is making, obviously, we have reward schools. 16 schools rated level 5 or 4. But when you get down into the weeds of where the action is happening, a lot of the fun stuff, the innovative stuff is happening with our institutes, innovation institutes. Now, you can go to jmcss.org, click on academics, and you will find our innovation department. And you'll see a number of innovation institutes all across our high school platform. So whether it's a traditional school like Northside or your cyber school like JASA, these innovation institutes are unique. Now, Molly, from just given your background, just from a personal kind of standpoint, if you could give us 3 that have been interesting to you, of course, we could go online and look at the entire list.
Right.
Let's, for you, narrow it down to 3, the most exciting, just based on your background and your mind.
Yeah, it's like you're asking me to pick my favorite child here. This is
Oh, we're going to do that next.
Both girls are favorites. No, my background is in biology, and so I do have a heart for Northside's BioSTEM program. A huge shout out to Miss Danielle Shaw Jones and those students at Northside, because the level of academic rigor that they're bringing into that program is incredibly impressive. She has jumped ahead of the curriculum in the fact that she's already incorporating the science of bioinformatics into the BioSTEM field. So when we think about when scientists are doing, biotechnology type research, you need to think about, petri dishes and micropipetters, and whether this is for pharmaceutical companies or in the environment, all of that information creates data. And that data is something that scientists need to know how to analyze. So the fact that she is already seeing that vision and encouraging the students to look beyond just a lab tech position in BioSTEM is amazing. Madison, oh man, the coding, the programming, computer programming going on with our Madison students is superior. In fact, if you look at some of their upperclassmen projects, they are actually working with back-end development, meaning that not only can they code a website or code a cell phone app, but they're coding the back end of all of that database and connecting it to the website so they can talk with each other. Now, to put this in perspective, that content is normally taught at a college like sophomore, junior level course. So the fact we have high school students mastering this is amazing. Another program that I really love is Liberty Tech's ag program, because they see the vision of where agriculture is going. For example, we met with a vendor here recently that he grew up in Lexington, of all places, but he has created an app where they're putting sensors into indoor gardens, and remotely. I could be out of town, I could be at the beach, and I can see that my tomatoes need to be watered, and I could press my app and they be watered. So the fact that Liberty Tech is looking at this type of technology to bring into the greenhouse is a very special thing. So many opportunities going on right now in the district.
I just got a text message, so I'm going to go down the list of the schools. I'm told I need to go down the list, and we will do this after a brief timeout. Now, Molly, when we come back from the break, we want to talk about that big robotics tournament that's coming up at Arlington. Molly Plyler is Director of STEM and Computer Science with our innovation department, and it's exciting stuff, and it's where the growth in our district is really happening. Hey, you're listening to the JMCSS podcast for the district. There's more to come. Stay with us. The Jackson-Madison County School System, Jackson, Tennessee's second largest employer, is recruiting talent for all departments and positions in preparation for the 2023-2024 school year. Join us on Tuesday, March 21st from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. at Liberty Technology High School for the JMCSS Career Fair. JMCSS has employment opportunities for teachers, skilled maintenance, bus drivers, food service, and more. Earn competitive pay and enjoy a flexible schedule in one of West Tennessee's most affordable communities. Join us on Tuesday, March 21st at Liberty Technology High School in Jackson for the JMCSS Career Fair. For more, log on to jmcss.org. That's jmcss.org. Choose us, Jackson-Madison County Schools.
Hello, I'm Elias, a star student at Arlington Elementary School. You're watching for the district. Now back to the show.
Good morning and welcome back to the JMCSS podcast for the district. I'm Greg Hammond, Chief of Public Information for the Jackson-Madison County School System. This morning, I'm joined by Molly Plyler. She's our Director of STEM and Computer Science. She works in our Department of Innovation. And before we continue, tell the folks at home your contemporaries in that department, the folks you work with, doing the heavy lifting as our schools learn more about careers in science, technology, engineering, and math. Talk about Dr. McSweeney and her crew.
Yeah, so we have a wonderful synergy within our department. We're coming with different backgrounds, different talents, different gifts, but at the heart of it is the desire that all of us have for wanting to help kids dream big. You know, sometimes when you look at bringing new ideas, new programs, new initiatives into a school district, that's scary to try something new. So we really try to create safe spaces where it's okay to fail, because failing is not a bad thing. It's just our first attempt in learning. So the Department of Innovation values that learning process. We value trying things and following that iterative design of if we need to stop and tweak and pivot, that is what we're going to do, because we are looking for opportunities that are going to meet our students' needs and allow them to excel on any path they choose for their life. Dr.
Teresa McSweeney is our Chief Innovation Officer, and she would be proud of me this morning as I have on this Northside blue sweater.
She is an alum.
Molly Plyler, we're visiting with now, Director of STEM and Computer Science, and Katrina Tate-Taylor, the Innovation Impact Coordinator. Now, Molly, there is a huge event going on in just a few days, really, at Arlington Elementary School, and it is a statewide event. Tell us about the Arlington Winter Classic.
Yes, so we are so honored to be hosting the Arlington Winter Classic. This is a robotics tournament for Vex IQ robots. It's a mixed tournament for elementary and middle school students. So the goal of competitive robotics is that students prior to the tournament will build their robot, code their robot, and the goal of coding the robot is every year you have a game, a challenge, that there are certain game elements on the field that need to be moved in certain ways. So this year's IQ game is kind of like a game of shuffleboard. If you've ever seen that, where you have the disc that you put down on the ground and you push it, and depending on what zone the puck lands in, that's how many points you get. Well, for this robotics tournament, all of the pucks are held in different towers. So there's 4 towers on the field, and you have to press the towers in different ways to release pucks. Mm-hmm. So we have 2 towers where we have robots that have arms that maybe they lift up and it releases. We have one where they push, and then 2 towers where they actually have to like turn a wheel to release those. So our students will be coming in. They will get their match schedules. It is roughly 6 hours
Whoa.
of matches, qualifying matches. And a match is 1 minute long. So imagine that type of pressure as an adult. You have 1 minute to score, to work with a partner that's from a different school. So it's not someone you're familiar with. So it's your robot and their robot. And together you're trying to score all these points in 1 minute.
I think one of the things that makes me the most excited, Jackson-Madison County Schools hasn't really been into Vex Robotics very long. We've already been awarded this year a statewide competition.
Yes.
And this is for the, I guess, upper elementary or mid-elementary grades.
So there's no rule on how young. In fact, I believe we have some competitors from the district that are as young as second grade competing.
Now, check this out. I was at Nova earlier in the school year, and there are pre-K students learning elements of robotics right now. So just imagine how intelligent, smart, capable, and competitive those pre-K students will be in 3 to 4 years when it's their turn to compete in the Vex Robotics competition. Molly, we're sitting here in a radio station that has television cameras, and the internet is a big part of what happens here at this radio station, which is something that didn't really exist readily when you or I, our producer Tad, were children. So speak to the fact that, the Innovation Institutes, whether it's in music, whether it's in agriculture, whether it's in digital entrepreneurship like JASA, what are these skills students are learning no matter the career field they go in?
That's an excellent question, and that's actually something we hear from our industry partners. Technology moves at such a rapid pace that if we focus on the tech gadgets, all of that will be outdated by the time our average student graduates high school. So it's not about teaching a gadget, it's about teaching thought processes and employability skills. And that's the beautiful thing about STEM education is at the core of STEM, it requires collaboration and communication and creativity and critical thinking and computational thinking, which is a fairly new term, but at the root of computer science is that thought process. And something to think about in that realm of computational thinking, that includes things like recognizing patterns. Now, let's think about that in a normal elementary classroom.
Okay.
I have to know patterns to learn basic math. I have to know patterns to learn how to read. I have to know patterns to program a robot. I have to know patterns to learn about life cycles in science class. So these concepts of computational thinking will integrate across all of our curriculum areas, and that's just giving our students another way to build these thought processes that will help them succeed in whatever their path is.
Molly Plyler is Director of STEM and Computer Science here for the Jackson-Madison County School System. She works inside of our Department of Innovation. For the folks at home, parents, grandparents, uncles, aunts, we're gonna name off some classes. Okay. And so as you listen to these classes, we want you to, take note of the diversity of subjects, but then also to remember to file this information away. And then if you have a son or daughter, a niece or nephew, grandson, granddaughter, currently in the Jackson-Madison County School System, ask them about these classes to make sure they're aware of the exciting options and opportunities happening now in the Jackson-Madison County School System. Because, of course, the conversation across the county is the growth of industry.
Correct.
Not only the industry we have now, but the industry that is to come in the next very short time. And so thinking about where students who will graduate over the next 5 years will get plugged into and what they're learning now. I want the STEM and digital entrepreneurship at JASA, Jackson Academic STEAM Academy. Talk about the Innovation Institute that is there.
So they are doing some exciting things. For example, esports. Now, I'm not a video gamer.
You're not a gamer?
I'm not a gamer. Surprise. So I agree that, years ago when esports came on, I had some personal biases, but I realized that, guys, esports in Tennessee alone is making millions and millions of dollars. And so it's not just the idea of who is your talent, who is the lead gamer that's playing the game, but think of all the support that goes behind that and all of the careers affiliated with that. We have people that are learning to code the video games. We have project managers that are, working on the platforms to put these things out. We have graphic designers that are doing the graphics in the games. And then for an event, we have, your event coordinators. You have so many jobs that require those 21st century skills of collaboration, creativity, critical thinking, all of the things that our students at JASA get through that esports program. They're doing some, in fact, let me brag on them a little bit more.
Go right ahead.
We just found out yesterday that some representatives from JASA have been invited to speak at the Tennessee Innovation Summit in May. The state was so impressed with the esports program. It's so cutting edge across the state. Other schools are saying, we want this. How do we do it? And our experts from the district will be going to share that information. So very exciting.
That is exciting stuff. Congratulations to the staff there at Jackson Academic STEAM Academy. And I'm bringing up Liberty not just because I like to eat, but as our city and county grow, as this region grows, hospitality and tourism management will be a big deal. People talk about Great Wolf Lodge being on the horizon here in Madison County. And then just thinking about the local businesses that people love to eat at and that are so popular right now in Madison County. Talk about hospitality and tourism management for a moment at Liberty Tech.
Yeah, so that's another great program where students are getting opportunities from everything from like a culinary arts chef perspective to a restaurant management to things that would go into other venue management. But it also gets into some pretty cool cutting edge things, like if we think about molecular gastronomy, right? Our students have the ability to think about preparing foods in new and unique ways. The entrepreneurship component of that institute is amazing. And in fact, we have a Liberty grad who currently has their business, Lamont's Kitchen, in downtown Jackson. So if you visit them, know that she is one of ours. We are so proud of her and her company. And that is the future for students in that program, to expand within the workforce and the industry coming in, but also if they wish to start their own businesses, they will be equipped to do so.
Molly Plyler is Director of STEM and Computer Science for the Jackson-Madison County School System. This morning we are talking about the tremendous opportunity for students inside the Department of Innovation and our Innovation Institutes. Before we go to commercial break, and I don't know if you can answer this question, but folks have seen photos online of the tiny house that's being built by the Advanced Carpentry Innovation students there at Southside. Do we know, will it be auctioned off? Is it for sale? And we know parts of this tiny house are solar powered. And so, what are the plans once the tiny house is finished? Will it be, I guess, the showpiece for students interested in carpentry and innovation in that institute, or, can someone purchase this?
It is for sale.
Okay.
It is for sale. So if you're dreaming of having a portable tiny house and to take on the road, the South Side might have the perfect home for you. That's a really neat institute too, because we literally walked in the classroom a couple months ago, and the students were having such an in-depth conversation about the design and the dimensions of what needed to how the layout needed to be on the inside of the house. So that we're so proud of them. The fact that solar energy is going to be a part of that project is so incredibly impressive. Plus, that aligns with what we see with our economic climate here in West Tennessee. We have more of those companies coming into the area. Our students, we want them to have exposure to solar power. What does that mean? The photovoltaic cells, collecting data from the cells. All of those open up jobs and opportunities for our kids, and so we're so proud of them.
And there's this word that was certainly popular a few years ago, convergence. And you certainly saw that or see that now with the solar powered tiny house, because the welding students and the automotive students have worked together to get the tiny house project to where it is now. You're listening to For the District, the JMCSS podcast on JJ 97.7 FM. We're visiting with Molly Plyler. She's Director of STEM and Computer Science. We've got one more exciting segment for you. Stay with us.
Hi, I'm Terica Smith, a local attorney and proud JMCSS graduate, but I'm also a JMCSS parent. We chose Jackson-Madison County Schools for educational options that are innovative and challenging. Whether it's the Academic Academy at Northeast or early college and career opportunities at JCM Early College High, JMCSS offers classes and programs that will prepare my son for college and beyond. Plus, JMCSS is a Level 5 district and tuition free. It just makes sense.
Hi, I'm Greg Hammond, Chief of Public Information for the Jackson-Madison County School System. With an increased focus in the fine arts, athletics, workforce development, and early career opportunities for students, there's never been a better time to choose us. Tuition-free, Jackson-Madison County Schools. Visit jmcss.org today to schedule a tour or call 731-345-7011.
I'm Nixie. And I'm Annie. And you're watching For the District. Now back to the show.
Good morning and welcome back to the JMCSS podcast for the district. I'm Greg Hammond, Chief of Public Information for the Jackson-Madison County School System. This morning, we're visiting with Molly Plyler. She's Director of STEM and Computer Science. And Molly, I know you're excited because we have several schools who are doing the work right now to hopefully receive STEM school designations. Talk about that process and what that will mean for several of our schools.
This is incredibly exciting. To become a STEM designated school with the Tennessee Department of Education, you have a rubric of items that you need to fulfill. And literally the rubric is about an inch thick. It takes schools roughly 2 years to go through the process. But what it allows schools to do is really focus in on the idea of problem-based learning. How do we help our students understand how to solve the problems of tomorrow? How do we teach them to work together? How do we teach them to effectively communicate through verbal communication and written communication? But more importantly, how does all of this connect, right? How many times have we heard, or maybe when we were students, we said, when am I going to use this? And this math stuff doesn't do anything with, English class, right? Mm-hmm. But STEM and the requirements for being a STEM designated school ask those educators and those students to start thinking about how all of those things interconnect. And the more we view our world and academic content as being connected, math class is connected to English class, which is connected to social studies, right? When we connect those things, we're creating more opportunities to go into any industry and quickly be able to see how we can apply information from different places in new and creative ways.
In reflection, I think two things. One, this is an opportunity maybe to bring along some students who may struggle in math.
Correct.
And if you catch them through science,
correct,
you may bring them along in math. And then secondly, our schools are doing a great job promoting what they're doing on social media. And so a lot of times you'll see these meetings with the STEM clubs, robotics. Well, you have retired engineers and retired doctors visiting the campus to now instill their wisdom on these students. And so not only do they get the science, technology, engineering, mathematics stuff, but they also get to see a real life engineer or doctor.
Those community partnerships are so critical. We love community partners coming in and assisting. In fact, we just the other day had a group of University of Memphis college students who went to Denmark Elementary to help them with their robotics. And those elementary kids thought the college kids were amazing, right? Because it was a new face, it was a new interaction, potentially new teachers for our district one day. We've connected in with local engineers. We've connected in with West Tennessee Healthcare. So all of these amazing professionals that are giving of their time and talents to our students. And those are the little sparks, right? Ultimately, we don't know who might spark that interest for our students. And the more that we can expose them to content and to individuals and to opportunities, the more opportunities that those sparks will grow into something amazing that will totally light their pathway.
So a reminder, if someone in your family, whether it be your son and daughter, your nephew, niece, grandson, granddaughter, it doesn't matter. If someone in your family is a student in the Jackson-Madison County school system, ask them what opportunities are they taking advantage of in the area of STEM education. If it's an older child, you can very specifically ask them about the Innovation Institutes. We want to remind you and encourage you to go to jmcss.org. You'll click on the Academics button, and from there you'll see the list of options, and you will click on Innovation. And a world of opportunity, not only for your student, but also for you as a parent and supporter. As Molly said, we certainly welcome community involvement and particularly parental support. Again, Molly Plyler, Director of STEM and Computer Science. Molly, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to be here.
We want to remind you that you can check out the JMCSS podcast on our YouTube channel. You can check it out from jmcss.org/podcast, Radio 731, or Apple iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. I'm Greg Hammond saying we hope you have an excellent Sunday and a great week.